Simon, it's 3 wins in the Betfred Championship this afternoon with victory over Dewsbury Rams. With all the adversity you went through in pre-match, just how pleased are you to come out the other side with a win?
Yeah, very pleased. You know, Dewsbury's a tough place to come, and they're improving as well. I think we saw some glimpses of what Finney sees a bit further down the track for them today, which was pleasing for him, obviously. Yeah, and we got a much needed win, 2 points on the board. I'm not happy about a lot of stuff that happened within the game, but sometimes you have to go and have a look at the context of the victory, and it's a good one. Look, in reference to the adversity, we had Natty Mason on dual reg from Huddersfield, and his grandfather passed away yesterday, so he's where he needs to be at home with his family, which meant the idea to rest Adam Tangata didn't come off. He had to play for us. And then in the warm-up, James Burnall, tight calf, not worth the risk. So Brandon came in when we needed to rest him as well. But it is what it is. Joe Martin did a pretty solid job at fullback, jumped back there, and Kyle Wood got the minutes he needed after a bit of a layoff, and as did Joe Rundle and Zach McComb. So a lot of positives in amongst. It weren't to the standard I'd hoped for, or where we've been in recent weeks. But again, when you look at the context of it, there's a bit going on there.
And we got off to a really quick start with a try in one of the early sets, to then go in at the break at 16-6. We were a bit disappointed that we didn't kick on a bit in that first half.
Yeah, not so much about the scoreline, the difference between the teams. The first try was how we practiced, then the rest of that half didn't look a lot like we practiced, which was the frustrating thing. Our kicking game was really poor. I thought we were fortunate as well. The chip try, which Callum Turner, probably a little bit off match pace, not played a lot this year, and Lackland just beats him to it. I thought that was quite a lucky try, which probably flattered us by half time. You know, we set out this game to play at the right end of the field, complete high, play at the right end, and we didn't do either in the first half. I'm not sure about the second. I thought we were a bit more dominant, ran with a bit more purpose, and yeah, more often than not, they did receive the ball at the right end of the field. But yeah, there's plenty to improve on, but you know, again, just go back to context. I think with what's gone on there in the build-up to the game, it could have been an excuse. We could have allowed them to be excuses for a loss, for a bit of a shock loss as well, I suppose, and an important one it would have been away at Dewsbury. And fortunately we've come away with, we had a bit too much quality at the right times, and we got the points on the board. And
off the back of a short week as well, it was only Monday that we played at Barrow with 11 men against 13. Are you pleased with the stamina that the players showed to go right up to the 80-minute mark and still be pressing for those points?
Yeah, I think that showed as well, and that comes into the context what I'm speaking of, where we didn't get back till the motorway was shut, and I think obviously anyone who went up there will know that, but the motorway, some traffic roadworks or whatever outside of Barrow, then roadworks meant off the motorway, so we didn't get home till like 3 o'clock, which is probably, it's thrown our week around a little bit in terms of what we wanted to complete in training, and we probably weren't quite as physical this week. We just sort of did the nice stuff, if you like, to look after them, but that probably showed a little bit today as well. Yeah, tough week. Lads are fit, they're a fit set. Scott's done a really good job with them. We're training away, which means they're pretty active when they're with us, which means they're constantly ticking over. We try not to stop starting anything we do, we try to keep it going. And they challenge each other a bit, to be fair. They're onto each other if they're not having a good day at office or they're not putting in or whatever, so they're alright in that regard, and they're always going to be in this game. I think we were always going to win it, to be honest. I just would have liked it in a little bit of a better fashion.
Obviously you went head-to-head with your recently departed assistant coach Liam Finn. Did you see any signs that he'd really done his homework and used a bit of inside knowledge to shut us down, or do you think it was more of a case of we were our own worst enemies at times?
I think probably the latter. I think I think Finney's influence will come through in time. I think we're all creatures of habit, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your work life, your home life, whatever it might be. Some lads are going to take a little bit of time to come around. I think a few of them showed some really positive signs. There's some blokes there that we expected to do something who acted a little bit of a different way, so it probably frustrated us a little bit as well, which is credit to them. But no, I'm happy for Finney that he's starting to have an influence, because that's all you want. You want to go out on your own sword, if you like. If you're going to get it wrong, let it be exactly as you wanted it to go, then it's all on you. I think he's going to get there, and hopefully there's enough time left in the season that they can swing things around.
There's some good performances out there individually at times. You mentioned Joe Martin had a good stint. You've been using him as a sort of interchange hooker so far this season, so how pleased were you to see that he can still jump in at full back and still have a big impact on the game?
Well, he's been a full-back forever, so that was never going to be an issue, really. I thought his legs betrayed him, didn't they, when he could have had a try. He come up with some good plays, but again, there's some rust in there as well, and that just comes from not playing every week. Listen, individually, they all had moments, but I think as a collective, as I said earlier in the PC, I think that was below the standards we've set. But I'm not going to beat him up too much about it.
And we'll just have a quick mention then, obviously he wasn't supposed to be in the starting lineup but ended up getting shunted onto the bench at the last minute. Brandon Moore, captain of the club, 150th Halifax appearance. Just how big of a player and how fantastic of a servant has he been to the Panthers?
Oh, brilliant. Since coming, obviously came through the academy at Cass. We had reserves at the time, and we just happened to be one of a few teams that had a reserve, so we obviously were fortunate to get Brandon over, and from day one he's been class, to be fair. I think he's barely missed a training session in 6-7 years he's been here, and everything's effort. You can see it in everything he does. He's not a leader by, he's getting a bit better verbally as he gets older, but he definitely leads by his actions every time he's in and around the place. And a bit disappointed, to be honest. We like to make a big deal of, you know, appearances, milestones like that for our club are important, and it's important we celebrate them, but yeah, he wasn't supposed to come today. We were going to get organised and have something put together for next week. But at least we won it anyway. You want to win these games and make them memorable for him. So we got the win, but not in the fashion, and certainly not his 150th in the fashion we expected.
We'll move on then. It's another Premier Sports game next week. York City Knights coming to the Shea on Monday night. They've suffered defeat today at home to Barrow, who we obviously defeated up in Cumbria on Monday night. Do you envisage a bit of a backlash from York coming to the Shea next week?
It's a different game. It's a different game, obviously, but you could say yes, because obviously Barrow dished out a backlash from their performance on Monday evening, so it can be done. I think I've heard Wayne Bennett saying a load of times, getting asked by journalists, what can you do next week after a loss? It took 7 days to turn it around, so hopefully we can turn it around again. Listen, York won't be taking us lightly. We served up a good performance up there, and I'd expect nothing less than that of them coming down to us. It'll be a good game, and obviously, like you said there, they've lost today, which pulls us a little bit closer together. So it was important anyway, but now it's still important, but it's probably a little bit of an opportunity just to claw them back a little bit.
And finally then, just a message for the fans that made the journey over to the Tetleys Stadium this afternoon. They seem to outnumber the home fans quite considerably. They really backed the team and really enjoyed the occasion today.
Yeah, nice to come only half an hour and get some faces and blue and white up in the stand. I thought they did a decent job. They cheered when it were good, didn't they? And they kept smiling when it weren't so good. So we'll take that. But we can't be outstanding every week. But yeah, we certainly value the support.